Section 2.3 is called Rules for Addition, and I've really gone over these rules in the last section, but they're important, so I'm going to do it again, and that's really what this section is about anyway. So there's two basic rules. If the integers you're adding have the same sign, then you keep and add. Keep and add. That means keep the sign that you're working with. Keep the same sign. Keep the sign and add. So let me circle that. Oops. Oh well, I'll get that later. All right, examples. We have 6 plus 7. They both have the same sign. They're both positive. So that means my answer is going to be positive too. That means keep the same sign of the two numbers you're adding. And then add them and you get 13. So this is an example of positive plus positive. There's another case of same sign, which is a negative and a negative. So negative 4 plus negative 7. And I'm going to keep, because the signs are the same, I'm going to keep that sign in my answer, keep the same sign, and then just add the numbers themselves without the sign. So 7 and 4 is 11. And so I end up with negative 11. So this is a negative plus a negative. The second piece to this rule, so same sign, keep and add. Different sign. Subtract. Take sign of bigger number. And there's a little rhyme in a video I'll show for this. So subtract, take sign of bigger number. For example, a different sign might be negative 8 plus 10. So one number's negative, one's positive. I'm going to subtract the numbers. And when you subtract the numbers, we're talking their absolute value. So what I'm going to do is ignore, I'm going to take like 10 minus 8. So don't worry about the negative when you do the subtracting. Just look at those two numbers, take the bigger one minus the smaller one. 10 minus 8 is 2. That's the difference between 10 and 8. And take the sign of the bigger number. Once again, just look at the absolute values. 10 is bigger than 8, so that's positive. So that means my answer is going to be positive also. Now this, you could also have, let's do 8 plus negative 9. The signs are different, so I need to subtract them. So I'm going to ignore the sign and just subtract the 9 and the 8. So 9 is bigger, so 9 minus 8 is 1. So you're just going 9 minus 8. And then take the sign of the bigger number. Look at their absolute values. Ignore the signs when you do that. Because 8 is obviously bigger than negative 9 if you consider the sign. But I'm not looking at the sign. I'm just looking at the absolute values. 9 is bigger than 8. And because 9 is negative, I'm going to put a negative sign there. So that's what take the sign of the bigger number means. Now there's one other case of this, if I have 4 plus negative 4, I have to subtract them when I get 0. Take the sign of the bigger number, well, oops, you can't see that. Subtract, take the sign of the bigger number, but if you look at their absolute values, neither of them is larger than the other. So, but 0 is neither positive or negative. So these are opposites, and you just get a 0 when you subtract. All right. So a few examples. Some of the problems they give you are stacked vertically. So if I have negative 7, 6, you're still adding. They don't put a plus sign, but you're adding these numbers. So they're different signs, so I'm subtracting them. And so 7 minus 6 is 1. And the bigger number, ignoring the sign, is 7. And because that's negative, I have to take his sign because he's the bigger number. Let's do simple 2, negative 3, negative 9. Remember, this is addition, but they don't put a plus sign. This is a case of same sign. So same sign, keep and add. I'm going to keep the sign, add the numbers. 9 and 3 is 12, and I get a negative 12. And then they give you, let's see, let's do example 3, negative 3 plus 4 plus negative 2 plus 5. You can add these in any order because it's all addition. Commutative and associative says you can rearrange and group however you want. So you could either just add left to right, or if you want to combine the negatives first and add those together, sometimes that's easy to do that. So I could just go negative 3 and negative 2, same sign, keep and add, makes negative 5. Then I could have the 5 and the 4 is 9. Now I have different signs, so I'm subtracting them, and I get 4. The bigger number is 9, and that's positive. Positive 4. One more example. So example 4. Let's do one that has some weird stuff going on here. All right. Negative 8 plus 3x plus negative 8 plus 4. This parenthesis, the only reason this parenthesis is here is so that these two signs don't get confused side by side. So this parenthesis is just an organizational thing. It doesn't really do anything, so don't worry about it. But I am going to deal with this negative and negative. Remember, negative means the opposite of. So the opposite of negative 8, these two cancel each other and make a positive. So really I have 8 plus 3x plus the negative 8 plus 4. And then I notice these two are opposites, so right away they're going to cancel to make 0. And then I have a 3x and a 4. Those are not like terms. I can't add them, so I just rewrite those two. That's as far as I can go. And that's the end.